You are now listening to the IELTS podcast. Learn from tutors and ex-examiners who are masters of IELTS preparation. Your host, Ben Worthington.
IELTS UKVI. Hello there and welcome to IELTS podcast. My name is Ben Worthington, and in this podcast we are going to be looking at IELTS UKVI, and we're going to look like what it is, where you can take it, IELTS for UKVI academic, the requirements to work in the UK, the test scores you need for the visas. We're going to look at EU workers and Brexit. We're going to look at the requirements to study in the UK, the cost, and the test format. Okay, so it's quite a vast podcast, and we're going to be moving pretty quickly to make this into a more valuable exercise for yourself. Grab a pen, make notes, and then you can test it with the post we have about this. If you go to ieltspodcast.com/UKVI. Before we start, I just want to tell the new listeners and just to remind you guys where I'm from. So I'm from the UK, and I was studying in the UK. I decided to do the Erasmus program, which is like a student exchange with the European Union. That's now been ended a few days ago on the 1st of January, and so it's no more, but it's basically a student exchange program. I went to Spain, studied in Spain. After that I started teaching English, and I'm very results orientated, and I was teaching kids, teaching business students, but the most rewarding ones were the IELTS students, because they were really ambitious. And also another thing I liked about these students was the fact that I could really test my methods, and if the students were still failing, I needed to change my methods. Whereas, if you've got a student who's just taking an hour a week and they're not taking any tests, you can't really measure their improvement. So this was a really good way to sort of separate the winning techniques from the losing techniques. And so to get even better, what I started to do is interview some experts on the subject and then test what they said. I also recorded what they said and published it. Then I would test it with my own students, and some of it would work, some of it wouldn't. So I ended up throwing out what didn't work, keeping what did work, and all the winning advice was put into the online course. Jump to Band 7 or it's free, the sentence guide. So have a look at that at IELTS online course, and also remember to sign up, because when you sign up you get a special offer for a low priced essay correction to help get you started. So let's jump into it. So the IELTS for UKVI is an official UK government approved English language test. It's a CELT, a secure English language test. And for the UKVI application, which means UK Visa and Immigration application, you can also take, it's obviously going to depend on your application, but for the UKVI application, you will need to submit a CELT, a secure English language test. And you can submit, depending on your application, you can submit IELTS Life Skills, IELTS for UKVI, Integrated Skills in English by Trinity College, Pearson PTE, GESE, provided by Trinity College, ESOL, CELT, and that's it. So that's a quick list of what you can submit. We're going to be focusing on IELTS for UKVI. And we've also got IELTS Life Skills, which I'll mention more about later. So where can you take the IELTS UKVI or Life Skills at the moment? Well, it has to be a certified test centre, and the guys who do the certification are the UK Home Office. That's a government branch of the government that deals with a lot of different things like immigration, like the prisons, like not customs, but a lot of different matters. It's quite complex, but In the UK, they've rolled out these UK VI centres, and you can go to the official website and you can see they are quite widespread. In India, they are quite widespread as well. The country is so massive, depending what widespread means. But they are in Pune, New Delhi, Goa, Chennai. I'm sorry if I'm butchering the pronunciation of your city there. Chandigarh, Bangalore, Ahmedabad, Mumbai, Kolkata, Jalandhar, and Hyderabad, if I haven't said it already. And they are rolling it out as well across other countries, and you can test the resources at the official website. You can go to the official website, and if you go to this post, the UKVI post at IELTS Podcast, you'll find all the links there. And I didn't include it because, one, it's been updated, and two, it wasn't perfect when I checked it. Okay, it was a search function. So, and they had a lot of countries there, and it basically, just to give you a rough overview, it was the capital cities of each country, as you would expect. So let's have a look at IELTS for UKVI Academic. Okay, so you can do it on the computer as well, and the following countries where you can do it on computer, the IELTS for UKVI, is Bangladesh, Brazil, China, India, Japan, Kuwait, Malaysia, Nigeria, Pakistan, Philippines, Saudi Arabia, South Korea, Taiwan, Thailand, Turkey, UAE, and the United Kingdom. And I did say it all in one breath. And you can also check the official page, British Council page, where you can find the most up-to-date list. So what do you need if you're going to work in the UK? Well, now it's going to the same system. Well, it always has been a similar system to Canada and Australia, but now if you're a part of the European Union, you have to go through this process as well. You cannot just jump on a plane from Spain or Germany, wherever, and start work in the UK. It's a lot more stricter. Also, as you probably guess, that if you've got high skills that the UK deems highly valuable or are in short supply in the UK, then it's supposed to be a little bit easier. So if the UK needs, 50,000 computer scientists, and you've got a qualification and you can take the IELTS, then it's going to be much easier for you than if you've got some other skills that the UK doesn't need. Apparently as well, if you're in healthcare, I think it gets a little bit easier due to the absolute urgency of the need of healthcare workers in the UK at the moment. But I would strongly recommend you go to the blog post I mentioned, which is IELTSpodcast.com UKVI, and there you can take a quiz. Actually, there you can click a link which will take you to the UKVI website, and you can take a quiz which will determine what visa you need, which makes it a lot easier. So what kind of visas are there available, and what IELTS score will get you which visa? Well, we've got the Graduate Entrepreneur Visa. This is Tier 1. You need an IELTS score of 4 in each of the 4 skills. A General Visa, where you need a band score of 4. Sportsperson Visa, which is Tier 2, band score 4. Tier 2, Minister of Religion Visa, where you need a band score of 5.5. So all of these seem quite low, but I'm sure once you dive into it, and I'm not so sure, but I'm pretty certain that the higher your band score in this, the more points you will get, because that's what happens with the Australian and Canadian systems as well. And then we've got Tier 4, which is a General Student Visa, which you need an IELTS band 4. However, if your university is saying we're only going to accept you if you need a 7, or if you've got a 7 or an 8, then obviously that's going to supersede what the government is saying. Okay, so even though the government says you only need a 4, certain universities will say, hey, to join our course, you need to have at least a 7. A General Student Visa, Okay, this is slightly different. For this one, you need a 5.5, and I think that is below. Might be above degree level. Yeah, and then we've got also in Tier 4, family of a settled person visa, where you'll need IELTS life skills at A1, and indefinite leave to remain or to settle or citizenship. You also need to take IELTS life skills and pass at a B1 level, which, if I remember correctly, equates to around a band 7 or 6.5, I'm guessing. Okay, so EU workers and Brexit requirement. I've already mentioned this, but the UK government reframed it very, how would I say, I wouldn't say elegantly or eloquently, but basically they've said skills and talent are prioritized over a person's country of origin, which is basically a way to say we've shut the door on everybody now, and we're just going to accept the ones that we want in. And yeah, I'm not going to get into Brexit now, as it's not a Brexit podcast, thank goodness, because that would really, really blow up my mind. So anyway, what are the requirements to study in the UK? So as we said, there's 4 types of student visas. We've got the student visa, which is available for those who are over 16. We've got a child student visa for children who are aged between 4 and 17. And then we've got the study English in the UK, whereby you can stay in the UK for up to 11 months, and that's for people who are on courses that exceed 6 months. Also, when you do these, there is a surcharge of about £500, and then that allows you to use our beloved NHS. It's probably not the best time to use the NHS at the moment with all this corona craziness and madness. However, when things get back to normal and you have an accident, you definitely want to be covered. And those visas cost about £200 as well. So it largely depends. The cost, though, will largely depend on your duration of stay and, of course, the visa. But as I said, about £500 surcharge, so you can use the NHS, and roughly about £200 per visa. So is there a difference between the IELTS test format of IELTS for UKVI and IELTS UK and normal IELTS? Not really. The content is the same, the examiners are the same, and the format is the same as the standard IELTS test. However, the test report forms are slightly different, and the only difference is that they show that you've taken the exam in a UK VI authorized centre. Okay, and your test report form will show the number of your UK VI centre. How do you practice for this exam? Well, because it's broadly the same, I would recommend you just follow the same sort of like methodologies we've been saying. So for reading and listening, practice tests, reverse engineer them, have a look at the question structures, have a look at the answers first, and just work through it that way. It's quite straightforward. I think it takes a lot of time. Then for the speaking and writing, the fastest way to improve is to get feedback, because you can instantly see your errors, you can instantly focus on where you're losing points and work on improving those areas. So we're going to have some more experts on about this to go into more depth, but this was an overview of UKVI. If you've got any more questions, please don't hesitate to message us, and we'll get straight back to you with some more resources. If you can't find this post, we can even email it to you. You can email us at ben@ieltspodcast.com. And as I said before, if you sign up to the email list, you can get some special discounts for joining the course. So good luck with this. Good luck with your IELTS preparation. Thank you for listening. Keep moving forward, and I wish you the best 2021 possible. We can do this. Take care.
Thanks for listening to IELTSpodcast.com.